It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world's trade. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Call a crib, same number, same hood. It's all good. And if you don't know, now you know. MAGA.
So we got some really cool news for you. Election update, Wall Street Journal. Donald Trump has doubled his support among black men and women since 2020. Hot diggity damn. Maybe this doesn't come as a surprise to you. I'm not exactly sure. But it certainly is something that is shocking to the greater overall political zeitgeist. In case you wonder why the border remains open, and in case you wonder why they wish for every person who has illegally crossed our border to vote for the people that are giving them handouts, this is why. Because Joe Biden is doing historically bad. I mean, what we mean historically is since the polls started, Joe Biden is doing this bad with regularly communities that vote in block, in mass, for Democrats. If Democrats don't win 90% of the black vote, they can't win. You don't win. You have to have those like dense urban areas in order to like flip, in order to make states like Illinois, which is a red state. Every county in Illinois is red, except for one. You have to be able to flip that state. Have you ever been to upstate New York? It's like Trump country. You ever driven around Pennsylvania? Trump country in every direction. Literally one city, Philadelphia, Chicago, Manhattan, one city flips the entire state. They have to have those dense population centers in order to outweigh and outpace the entire rest of the state. That's how they win. So these are crisis numbers, ladies and gentlemen, for the left. And this is why the left is losing their minds over Donald Trump. Donald Trump yesterday went to a Chick-Fil-A in Fulton County, of all places. Now, this is why we weren't shocked. We cover that clip of people cheering for Trump in Fulton County right after the mugshot because it's, one, fascinating to see how Donald Trump actually connects with real people. Why are these people cheering for a billionaire that just got a mugshot trying to arrest him? Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because Donald Trump inspires hope in people. And Joe Biden inspires depression. And that was on clear display. And we now have the backstory directly from the Trump campaign. So we were shout and got the Trump campaign to actually explain to us, like, the backstory is that this Chick-Fil-A was on Donald Trump's route for the mugshot. And so when Donald Trump went into this Chick-Fil-A, he saw it during his mugshot arrest, and he saw people cheering for him. And so he said, I want to come back to the people who cheered for me during my mugshot. You see here Donald Trump talking to a lady who has a nose ring. So this hourly worker who has a nose ring at Chick-Fil-A is there cheering for Donald Trump. What kind of a world are we living in? I mean, it's really special, okay? Really, really special. You see the way that Donald Trump obviously embraces, and quite literally, the people of Fulton County.
It's got a great American franchise, Chick-fil-A. It is. It's a great franchise. The owner is a great man who's a member of one of my clubs, and he's fantastic. And, yeah, they do very well. They're closed on Sunday.
The Lord's Chicken.
That's the Lord's Chicken. You're right. It's good chicken, too.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is Donald Trump saying it's the Lord's Chicken. This is my favorite part, actually, of the trip, is when a supporter of Trump, who I think was just eating Chick-fil-A there, runs up and hugs him. Check this out.
I don't care what the media tells you, Mr. Trump. We support you.
We support you, Mike.
Okay, 4 p.m. We've been 4 p.m.
Come here, let me give you a
Okay, let's keep going. So that's my favorite moment from that event. And that same woman was on Fox just seconds ago this morning talking about what it was like to give Donald Trump a massive hug after saying, hey, the media's lying. Media's lying about you. We love you. Here we go.
So you told the president when you were hugging him, I don't care what the media says, we support you. Tell me what you meant by that.
I am so glad that is the first question you asked me. Mm-hmm. So, of course, in the excitement of everything, I wasn't able to really relay my message, but the general consensus or social media would have you thinking that if President Trump were to show up to the HBCU campuses or walk around the AUC community, that like some angry mob would form or a riot would ensue and that he would not be welcomed. And clearly the sentiment in that room the other day was the complete opposite. He was very welcome. People were excited to see him. People showed up in support of him, and people, of course, were from all four institutions within the AUC, the local HBCU community in Atlanta, and they all showed up in support of him. So it's actually kind of crazy to see people in an uproar when all four institutions were legitimately represented, and all four institutions were represented by said students who wanted to support President Trump.
You know, Michaela,
and I really appreciate that we were able to not only let him know that regardless of what social media says, you know, I know they're trying to make us think we're supposed to hate you, but we don't. And additionally, it was a learning experience for my students because they were able to see and experience firsthand how the media can warp the perception of an opinion or a person.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's heartwarming, right? It's heartwarming. But the libs are very, very angry about this. In just a moment, we'll play you a Jimmy Kimmel clip just to show you exactly how much they hate this. We predicted this, by the way. We predicted that they would find time, they would find the capacity to hate on these people. They would find the capacity to hate on Donald Trump reaching into the lives of people who presumably, I mean, if you're working an hourly wage at Chick-Fil-A, it's a noble and honorable thing, but like, you typically don't have a lot of billionaires coming in, clapping you on the back, hugging you. Some of those powerful people on earth, some of the most famous people on earth, making your day. We predicted that libs would find a way to see this and salt it, and my goodness, did we find the clip from Jimmy Kimmel. But first, a little more peace and love for your timeline. That beautiful woman continuing her Fox interview, talking about what it was like to give Donald Trump that big, warm hug.
Tell me about the former president and his policies. What is it about him that is gravitating these young people toward the president? And a lot of people, traditionally, Republicans don't do well in black America. But a lot of young black Americans like the former president. What is it about him?
I think, and this is a sentiment I get a lot coming from the young people themselves, is that they feel like he's honest. They feel like this is somebody who, while we might not agree with how he says things, how he goes about things, at least he's telling us what it is. We don't feel like this is a snake in the grass waiting for his chance to bite us. This is somebody who's telling us, this is what my plan is. Here's how I plan to execute it. Here's the people involved. And here's how you can get involved. So they just feel like he's more relatable. And I don't say that to say that, like, you know, they all relate to him. But again, he gives you that relatable feeling to where it's like, hey, I'm just like you. You know me. This is what you said you wanted. Here's what I'm going to try to do about it. They really feel like this is somebody who's talking to them and not just saying what they want to hear.
Such a good point.
So what is the superpower of Donald Trump? Superpower of Donald Trump is his ability to make you feel big. His ability as one of the most powerful people on earth, all right? And the most famous man living today. Inarguable. The most famous man living today is Donald Trump. And when Donald Trump walks in with that energy, and he's been a celebrity for 50 years, right? And this is just the superpower that he wields. And he talks to you, and he hugs you, and he looks directly at you, and he claps you on the shoulder, and he grabs you by the arm. That makes you feel big, that raises you up. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me. And it's something that's really, really profound. And that uplifts, and you hear it there in the comments. That just uplifts people. And there's not a lot of uplifting going on. Joe Biden could never, right? And that's why the libs seethe. That's why the libs freak at clips like this. Because they know that they are helpless. And their guy don't got it, right? And this is why you have our Salt That Lib of the day, Jimmy Kimmel. We knew it. We predicted it. We tweeted it, actually. We tweeted it. We put it up. I just want to show you that we were right. We put it up. Can we grab that tweet with the photo? We said, We said the libs are going to find a way to hate on this. They're going to find a way. The media can't understand it. It hurts their brains. It breaks their brains, so they'll censor it. They'll get it ripped off the internet, and they'll try and degrade these people. But it's really quite simple. Donald Trump brings people hope. Joe Biden makes people depressed. That's it. And boy, were we right. Jimmy Kimmel, our Salt That Lib of the day. Jimmy Kimmel's such a salty lib, and so deserves extra sodium. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Kimmel on the verge of tears talking about Donald Trump bringing happiness and joy to an impoverished community that is dangerous and scary to live in. Quite frankly, we just went through the murder numbers there in Fulton County. Jimmy Kimmel's never done anything nice for anybody like this. Jimmy Kimmel's never stopped and made anyone's day as an hourly worker. And so he deserves our salt for our Salt That Lib of the day.
Just a former president muttering, I did everything to himself at a fast food chicken restaurant. Nothing unusual there. I would have given anything for somebody to ask him right on the spot, name one black university, okay? And let's have a look at that. We posed for that photo. I would like to see what that looked like. Oh, yeah, there you go. Look at that man of the people. Joe Biden invested $7 billion in historically black colleges and universities, but Donald Trump, who lost Georgia last time, believes bigly and strongly that this time he deserves to win there.
Why should the people of Atlanta vote for you?
Because I've done more for the people of Atlanta than any other president by far. I've done more for the black community than any other president since Abraham Lincoln, and maybe including Abraham Lincoln, frankly, but since Abraham Lincoln.
I don't know. Who is this person? The fact that he's able to say the words, I've done more for the black community than maybe Abraham Lincoln, and then not start laughing hysterically, it's incredible. He might as well be saying, I am a black person. It would be equally preposterous.
Might as well be saying, I'm a black person, says Jimmy Kimmel, as the crowd of lobotomized seals clap. Okay, because they have to have an applause line. They have to have giant split. You have read in these studios, these Hollywood studios, they have to have these giant signs that say, you will clap now, seal. I found that last line particularly interesting, that Jimmy Kimmel would attack Donald Trump for fake playing a black guy, considering the fact that Jimmy Kimmel built his entire career on fake playing a black guy. In what used to be a career ender, going in blackface on camera, but not just blackface for Jimmy Kimmel, black body, black hands, black feet. Here, ladies and gentlemen, from the archives again, is Jimmy Kimmel doing exactly what he just accused Donald Trump of doing, playing a black guy.
Sometime at night, Karl Malone look up in the sky and say, what the hell going on up there? Do UFO live on other planet, phoning home like E.T.? Karl Malone read on TV about white people getting deducted by aliens, sticking all kind of hell up their butt. And that's a damn thing. Now, Karl Malone never seen no flying saucer himself, but if he do, that's going to be a spooky time. That's why Karl Malone say government got to step up and give 102% to keeping them little green man off this here earth. Because the day them dudes stick something up Karl Malone butt, that ain't going to be no good time for nobody, especially Karl Malone butt. Listen up, E.T. You better stay the hell back. Nanu, nanu. Until next time, This here Karl Malone.
Well. I guess people in glass houses shouldn't throw basketballs in blackface. And black body, by the way. Can we do the full body shot here? Just one more time. Jimmy Kimmel went out of his way to paint his legs black, his hands black, his arms black, his black face. Black face, of course. Absolutely cancelable. The peak, the zenith of offensive, and something that mustn't ever be done. Ever. And here's Jimmy Kimmel doing exactly that. Last night, going on a monologue about how Donald Trump is trying to play a black guy. Wow. Pretty remarkable how when you just take a step back and look at Fani Willis, how she campaigned, CNN, what they said before the 2020 election about legalities of challenging elections, or Jimmy Kimmel's old comedy routines, you'll see that all of these people are full of shit. Try not to swear on this shit program. Try. Family-friendly program. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a family-friendly time, and it was a family-friendly time when Donald Trump was at this Chick-Fil-A. It was inspiring. It was neat. It's called retail politics. It's what you should see during politics. People being uplifted. People hearing something that gives them hope. And what was the final thing that Trump said that really gave them hope? What's the clip that really went thermonuclear viral? Donald Trump saying, and campaigning in real time with black voters, we need to get rid of Biden. And when Donald Trump says that, the reaction to just the people, the run-of-the-mill people who were out and about at Chick-fil-A that day in the afternoon, okay? Listen to the response. Can't fake this.
Yeah, can my friend Dom get in one too? She's fundraising.
Come on in, come on in, come on in. We're going to get rid of Biden.
Bye-bye,
He is the worst president in the history of the United States, and he's horrible to the black community. Whether you like it or not, he
Been that way
treats the
since a
black
senator.
community bad. And check out his record in the 1990s. Check out his record in the 1990s.
You're economically what's for us.
Well, opportunities.
Opportunity provides everything holistic.
Best job numbers ever.
The First Step Act. Let's talk about it.
And again, the colleges and universities. I just got the whole thing down.
I got you.
Now, what's fascinating about that is while Donald Trump went through some of his accomplishments, he was cut off by one of the black voters there, and they said, you should check Joe Biden's record from the 90s. That makes us go, oh, well, that's good, interesting. What was Joe Biden doing in the 90s exactly? And it didn't take you too long to just go ahead and check what Joe Biden was doing in the 90s. Here is a very unfortunate clip of Joe Biden talking about the evils of crack cocaine. Now, I'm not here saying that it's not evil to use crack. You shouldn't use crack cocaine, okay? I'm saying you shouldn't use it, all right? And I'm not here to promote the sale of it or to try and like brush it under the rug. Here's what I'm trying to say, is that if you're going to sit there and say that there's dual prosecution in our country and you're not able to, like against Donald Trump, right? And say that this is happening to Donald Trump, this is wrong, then you should go back in the 1990s and also say the same criticism about black Americans, of whom Joe Biden passed laws to lock up hundreds of thousands of them, destroying an entire generation of young black men with a single law, all right, about crack. And why is that particularly odious and evil and Cretan-esque for Joe Biden to do? Well, because Joe Biden's bragging about how little amount of crack you have to have on your person to do mandatory 5 years here, yet, and we can't play the clips because we can't play the clips because like it's literally restricted because the clips are so grotesque and have so much human nudity and drug abuse in them. But virtually every second of video that you get out of Hunter Biden's laptop is him with mountains of crack rocks. Mountains of them. So Joe Biden was bragging about locking up entire generations of young black men while giving his son a pass. And we know his son was first nabbed for crack use or cocaine use. We're not sure because Joe Biden used his political muscle to get his kid out of jail. Hunter Biden was first nabbed for drug use in 1986 when he was 17 years old on the Jersey Shore. We have the police report. We don't have the mugshot. That was the first time Hunter got booked in the slammer. And so while his kid is living this lifestyle of mass drug abuse and Joe Biden's using his political muscle to get his kid out of jail every time he abuses drugs, here's what Joe Biden was doing in the 1990s.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Now, the fact of the matter is, we've gone from...
Did you notice that Joe Biden somehow has more hair on his head now? You see that? Can you get me a frame of that? You can see the entire bald top of his head. How's that happen? He's more machine man now. 5 years in jail, says Joe Biden. In the era of mass incarceration for everyone but his own son, who was presumably, based on him getting kicked out of the Navy, based on his own admission, like a mass drug abuser all throughout school. While Joe Biden was giving that speech, Hunter Biden, in his own memoir, bragging about how much crack he did, how much cocaine he did. Yeah. So it's pretty thin. All right? Pretty thin for any argument for the support of Joe Biden would be pretty thin, about as thin as Joe Biden's hair right there.